My name's Barry Kenniger. I'm 52 years old. I live in Colchester with my wife Norma, my 9-year-old daughter Matilda. I've got an elder daughter Emily, who's 30, and a stepson who's 32, and a number of little grandkids running around. I enjoy life. I go to the gym. I keep fit. I love spending time with my family. I sometimes take them horse racing. They won't quite go and watch my football team just yet. I'm a performance manager at Legal & General. I took out my first life and critical illness policy back in 1997, and I was buying a house in Cambridge, and it seemed a sensible thing to protect myself and my family if anything were to happen to me. It wasn't my aspiration to leave a legacy of leaving them in debt. It would also have been really hypocritical of me not to do what I was asking others to do. My circumstances changed in Cambridge, and as a consequence I had to sell the house. So it would have been really easy in those circumstances. I guess many people do decide a really good thing to do would be to cancel the policy, save some money, save up, get a new deposit, all those things that are normal and natural. But I didn't. And I didn't, I guess, when I look back at it now, because I saw real value in what the policy was. And suddenly I was on my own, and actually it meant even more then, because if anything, I'd have been more vulnerable had anything happened to me. I was sat just upstairs at my desk. It was the 4th of August last year. It was about 11:30, and in truth, what I remember is I was trying to decide whether to go downstairs and eat my wife's croissant that she had mistakenly left here, which is dangerous. And then I got a pain in each side of my neck, here and here. I'd been to the gym early that day, and I thought, oh, man, is this what a trapped nerve feels like? I've never had a trapped nerve. And then about 90 seconds later, it felt like someone was drilling a hole through my head. And I just didn't know what to do with myself. I wandered around the house a bit. My arms went numb. I sought solace in the end in rolling around on the front room floor, not knowing what to do with myself. My wife's an occupational therapist in the National Health Service. So I rang her. She came home. We called an ambulance. And then they established really quickly that I needed to go to hospital. They took me into hospital, and they said, look, it's probably going to be okay. You've got low blood pressure, and you've got a low heart rate, probably from years of being not stressed and keeping fit. But those two things together feel a bit like a stroke sometimes. So it's probably that, but don't worry. We'll put you in the CT scanner and it'll be fine. And they did that really efficiently. And I was laying there in A&E, and my wife was there, probably thinking I was being a bit melodramatic. She was actually on the laptop working. She's a really empathetic person. And then the surgeon came in, and he came in and said, really sorry. You've had a subarachnoid brain hemorrhage. And we're going to blue light you to London. Okay. And in that minute, that was the only minute I thought I might die. Matilda, my youngest daughter, wasn't allowed in the ward. For the whole period I was there, she wasn't allowed in the ward. I was sending her presents while I was away. I sent this beautiful panther. We called it Paris. And it arrived here so she could cuddle it when I wasn't around to cuddle. And ironically, when I came out of hospital, when I felt better, the first place we went to was Paris. So I rang up, and they were beautifully empathetic. I always expected them to be empathetic, but they were empathetic. And it turned out the lady I spoke to on the phone, her mother had died of something very similar to what I'd had. I put the claim in, which was really easily done. They rang me and acknowledged it when they received the paperwork back. What I had was trauma. One moment you're sitting at your desk thinking about a pastry, and the next minute you're twitching around on the floor and your world is thrown apart. You don't know what's going on. And it's just reassuring to know in those circumstances that you're going to be looked after and your family are going to be looked after. When I was in hospital, clearly I was on a lot of drugs, and I'm sure the doctor, the consultant said, you've got a 50% chance of getting out of this. As it turns out, I misheard him, and it was a 15% chance of getting out of it. So I just see myself as being very lucky. I sort of look at it as a gift, really. As a gift to do the things that we might want to do that we might not have done otherwise. When I was in hospital, I lost nearly 2 stone in weight, almost entirely in muscle. And so when you come out, that sort of affects you. It affects how you feel about yourself, the way you look. It's been a gradual process. I've sort of started going back to the gym. I've started training, I've started cycling, and it's hard work. Hard work. You spend a lot of time getting to a fitness level for it to all go seemingly in a month and having to start from scratch again. The important thing is though, and the significant thing for me is that I'm able to do it. I'm fortunate I can go back to the gym, I can start lifting weights again, I can get on a bike, I can walk along the woods with my daughter and not feel out of breath, knowing that every day I'm getting a little bit stronger, a little bit fitter, and I'm looking after my head as well. It can happen to any of us at any time, so just make sure you're protected against it.